All right, let's talk about a chess opening that you've probably heard of, but maybe don't fully get. It's powerful, it's strategic. Today, we're going to master the King's Fianchetto.
But first things first, have you ever been at a chess club or watching a stream and you hear someone talk about playing the king's Fianchetto? Yeah, it happens all the time. It kind of shows you just how misunderstood this opening really is. So let's clear that up right off the bat. It's pronounced Fianchetto. Fianchetto. Getting that right is the first step to playing it with some real confidence. Okay, pronunciation down. But what is a fianchetto really? Let's break it down. Not just the moves themselves, but more importantly, the whole idea behind it. So in a nutshell, it's all about how you develop your bishop. Instead of bringing it out towards the middle, you tuck it away on the longest diagonal of the board. From there, it controls those key central squares from the side, from what we call the flank. And how do you do it? It's actually super simple, just 2 steps. First, you move your g-pawn 1 square up to g3. This creates a neat little home for your bishop. Then, step 2, the bishop just slides right into that spot on g2. That's it. That's the fianchetto. Now, here is where it gets really cool. Most openings are about this big rush to plant your pawns in the center, right? Well, the fianchetto has a completely different plan. Think of that bishop on g2 like a sniper. It's sitting way back, totally safe, but it's putting a ton of pressure on the center of the board. You see the difference? You're not just occupying the center, you are controlling it from a distance.
And hey, a little bit of trivia for your next game. While pretty much everyone calls it the King's Fianchetto, its formal names are actually the Benko opening, or sometimes the Hungarian opening. You know, this opening wasn't always respected. It actually has this amazing underdog story, the history of a so-called shy move that became a revolutionary weapon in the right hands. The name itself actually gives us a clue. It comes from Italian. Fianco means flank, the side of the board. And etto is a suffix that just means little. So fianchetto literally means little flank. It's the small move on the side of the board with a huge impact. So check out how this went down. Back in the 1800s, classical chess theory was king, and the rule was you had to occupy the center with pawns immediately. The fianchetto was seen as passive, maybe even weak. But then the 1920s roll around, and this new movement called the hypermodern school just flips the entire game on its head. Suddenly, this shy move was a deadly weapon. Its reputation was totally cemented in 1962 when Grandmaster Paul Benko used it to beat 2 absolute legends of the game, Bobby Fischer and Mikhail Tal. Imagine that. And the core idea that changed everything, pioneered by guys like Richard Ruddy and Aaron Nimzowitsch, was basically asking one simple question. Why get into a big, messy brawl for the center when you can just control it from the outside? That philosophy, that is the heart and soul of the fianchetto. Okay, so it has a cool history and a really clever idea behind it, but let's get to the real question you're probably asking. Is it actually any good? Let's put it to the test. Overall, we're giving it a solid 7.5 out of 10. It's a very respectable opening, for sure, but it's not a magic bullet. And here's the bottom line. It's incredibly solid, but, and this is a big but, it's not the most aggressive way to start a game. You aren't going for a knockout blow on move 5. You're setting yourself up for a long, strategic battle. What's really interesting is how its value changes depending on who's playing. For beginners, honestly, it's maybe a 4 out of 10. It relies on some pretty complex positional ideas, and it's easy to get overrun in the center. For intermediate players, though, it's a strong 7 out of 10, a great way to get a solid position without having to memorize tons of opening theory. But then you get to the Grandmaster level, and it actually drops to a 6. They often see it as a bit too safe, a bit drawish when they really need to fight for a win. And you can see it right here. The sweet spot is right there in the middle. For the intermediate club player, this is a really reliable weapon for building up those strategic skills. So let's put it all together and answer the final, most important question. Based on everything we've seen, is the King's Fianchetto the right opening for your style of play? It really comes down to this. The Fianchetto is a fantastic choice if you're a patient player, if you enjoy slowly improving your position, squeezing your opponents until they finally crack. This is for you. On the other hand, if you live for sharp tactical battles and you want to attack right out of the gate, you'll probably find this opening, well, a little boring. So, what's it going to be? Are you the sniper controlling the battle from the flank, or are you the infantry charging headfirst into the center? The choice is yours.